To the NFL we go. 7 new head coaches in the NFL, which means they get an early head start with off-season workouts. 2 of those teams underway this week are the Patriots and the Bears, which is where we find Courtney Cronin and the Bears' Mark Reese with the Patriots. All right, Mike, we'll start with you. It's year 2 for Drake May. In addition to a new head coach, he's got a new OC in Josh McDaniels. What has McDaniels said about May to this point?
Christine, here's a direct quote from Josh McDaniels. "I am smitten with the young man in terms of his personality. Up to this week, they hadn't been able to do much football X's and O's, so it was just about getting to know each other. But over the last 2 days, that's shifted a little bit. May is here for the voluntary off-season work. McDaniels is here. They hope it's the start of something special, and I would say that's one of the big themes surrounding this team. What infrastructure are they providing around Drake May to help him grow and be at his best? McDaniels as offensive coordinator is one thing. Signing Stefon Diggs, the receiver, is another. Even adding veteran Joshua Dobbs in the quarterback room as sort of a mentor is another."
Being smitten is beautiful. I wish somebody would say that about me. You mentioned Stefon Diggs, who is recovering from torn ACL. He suffered that in October. Where is he in the recovery process?
So Diggs is also here for the start of the voluntary work, Christine, and he says he's ahead of schedule. But when we pressed him a little bit, when we had a chance to talk with him, he didn't put an exact time frame on when he would be back in the field. Same with Mike Vrabel, the first-year head coach. He said he didn't want to put a timetable on Stefon Diggs, but I am told that it is going extremely well for Diggs. Look at the time frame. Toward the ACL October 27th. You figure the start of the regular season early September. Think about this, too. Diggs has a lot of financial incentive to be on the field. He has $200,000 per game roster bonus if he is active.
All right, before he got hurt, he was 7th in the NFL in catches. Last season, we'll see how he can help out his quarterback, Mike Reese. Thank you.
Well, from New England to Chicago, where Ben Johnson has taken over, and look at this site we're about to show you. I can just smell the Soldier Field nachos from here. Caleb Williams walking into the building for Chicago's offseason program, which officially began this week. He's actually walking into Hallis Hall there. I should maybe say, smell the cubicles. Courtney Cronin is there, knows what I'm talking about, and joins us from Hallis Hall. Courtney, plenty of changes in personnel and philosophy for year 2, and Caleb Williams. The quarterback just spoke to the media moments ago. What did he have to say about why this year already feels different than his rookie year?
Well, Shay, it was Caleb Williams and several other players who said that Ben Johnson spent the last 2 days setting the tone for what he expects from these players and their mindset and mentality. And everybody I talked to said that this is a team that expects to win now, this season in 2025. Last week, Ben Johnson talked about the ways that he expects to push Caleb Williams out of his comfort zone. So I asked the young quarterback, what does that look like 2 days into the offseason program? And he said that today there was a quiz in the quarterback room. Nothing formal, but Ben Johnson flung the door open, made a grand entrance, and tested these players on what they learned yesterday. So 2 days in, Johnson is already challenging Williams, which is something among several items that feels different for the young QB this year versus last year.
This feels different. Obviously, it's the same in that sense. Being around these coaches and some of these new guys, obviously that's new, and that's how I felt last year. The fact that I've gone through a year that I had ups and downs, and we stayed strong and I stayed strong, and I think that's the difference to it so far for me and the feeling for me. And then obviously, what Ben has been able to do brings some excitement for me. So, those have been the 2 main things of, I've had a year under my belt now of ups and downs and good and bad and things like that. And then the excitement of Ben being here and his creativity and all these different things.
Speaking of that creativity, there's some schematic changes that Caleb Williams is about to learn and go through that process of learning throughout the next couple of months. Ben Johnson's offenses had the highest percentage of plays under center when he was the Lions offensive coordinator. And right now, while they can't get on the field, for Williams, it's all about visualization. He doesn't have a lot of experience with running plays under center. 7 snaps in college and only 84 last year under center as opposed to 525 in the shotgun. So the process process from now until phase 3 of the offseason program when they can get on the field, visualizing what those route concepts look like, how to time up his footwork with his receivers. So when it's the fourth quarter of games and the situation is much more dire than it is in the beginning of April, all of that will feel second nature in an offense that is designed to bring the best out of the former Heisman Trophy winner.
Well, you are speaking some good sentences into my ear. I just hope he stays upright. Sacked 68 times last season was Caleb Williams, the most in the NFL. Courtney Cronin, thank you.
Mock Draft 4.0 is out now, and he has some major changes at the top. Shedeur Sanders has now slid down to the Saints at 9, joining new head coach Kellen Moore. In Mel's last mock, he had Shedeur going 3rd overall to the Giants. New Orleans fans would be happy with these results, though. Last season, Saints quarterbacks ranked 30th in QBR. So besides Shedeur, we see another change in the top 3. Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter swapping spots. We then see Will Campbell jumping to 4th overall to the Pats and Ashton Jeanty going 6th to the Raiders. To round out the top 10, Mel has tight end Tyler Warren joining Ben Johnson in Chicago. The man behind the mock, Mel Kiper Jr. joins us now. Okay, Mel, let's start with the big headline. Take us through Shedeur Sanders slipping to number 9 and why he fits in New Orleans.
Here's the deal, Christine. He's at 5 on my big board. You think about the 2nd, 3rd pick, you can get arguably the best player on your board in either Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter. And, of course, Shedeur going 9 to New Orleans. That's what you want if you're picking 9. Get somebody inside your top group of players. He's at 5. Of course, new coach Kellen Moore gets Shedeur, Dome Stadium, Atlanta Dome, and then Carolina, Tampa Bay. Outstanding weather. So for Shedeur Sanders, will be an ideal fit. Shedeur Sanders, to me, is one of the more underrated players right now in this draft. The criticism he's receiving, I think, is very unfair and unwarranted. He checks all the boxes you need to be successful in the NFL as a starting quarterback. That's why I've had him as QB1 dating all the way back to August.
Okay, so Sanders falls to 9 because at picks 2 and 3, the Browns and Giants, they pass on a quarterback. Take us through the Browns taking Hunter and the Giants taking Carter.
What do the Browns need, Christine? They need juice on offense. They got to get it, and Travis Hunter is exactly that. He's a touchdown waiting to happen with the ball in his hands. They need that wide receiver who can do what this kid can do. Best ball skills, tracking ability, hand-eye coordination of any player I've ever seen. And Louis Riddick echoed those same sentiments about Travis Hunter. Then you think about what he could do in coverage at cornerback. They're strong at that position, but you can never have enough great cover men. Travis Hunter, best player on my board since late August, number 1 overall, and then you get him at number 2 with the Cleveland Browns. Then you get the quarterback in the 2nd round. The Giants get a guy who's at 1A on the board. He's number 2, Abdul Carter, pass rusher off the edge. Then they can wait until the 2nd round, maybe to think quarterback. But Abdul Carter this year was off the edge after being off ball. So off the edge, unleashed. He doubled his sack numbers and doubled his tackles for loss number in this season with the Nittany Lions. That's why he's up there near the top of the draft board. Number 2, right behind Travis Hunter on the big board right now.
I know Abdul Carter thinks he should be number 1, but number 3, not so bad. So those teams, they pass on a quarterback in round 1, but they draft a quarterback in round 2. Take us through that.
Christine, Tyler Shuck, the quarterback, was at Oregon, then Texas Tech, then Louisville. And this year at Louisville, he put it all together. One, he stayed healthy. Okay, he had 3 years of injury at Texas Tech, finished out the season, put up good numbers. Then he went through Senior Bowl week, looked good. Combine, he's the LTP at quarterback. He looks the part, Christine, talking about size, talking about he can spin the ball, make any throw, and he ran that 4.6 340. Tyler Shuck to Cleveland with the weather conditions in the AFC North. Need a guy who throws that tight spiral like a Tyler Shuck does. Then you think about where we are right now with Jalen Milroe, okay? Inconsistency late in the year in terms of accuracy and overall performance, but that Georgia game and other games during his career, he was lights out. He's got size, he's got a rocket arm, and he can run like no other. This kid is a dynamic dual threat quarterback. If you can level off the consistency and level off the performance, and he gets with the right fit quarterback coach, and Brian Daboll had Josh Allen. There were some things that Josh needed to work on coming out of Wyoming. If Jalen Milroe can make those same strides, Daboll had the dual threat in Josh, he'd get the dual threat in Jalen Milroe.
I do want to point out as well that Jalen Milroe was invited to the draft by the league, which means the NFL believes he could be drafted on night 1. Take that with a grain of salt, of course, because Mel Kiper knows better. Mel Kiper Jr., thank you so much.
Wins.